welcome to the What's Happening show. We have a bit of a different show for you today as we've had some slight technical issues without having a laptop recently. So sadly, we won't have an interview, but we will be back to normal programming soon. But on today's show, we will be discussing some music that we've discovered recently. We're going to be discussing socially distant gigs like the recent BBC Two Live in Hyde Park Festival, and we're going to showcase 4 songs for you all to enjoy. Now, as normal, we're going to start with our recent discoveries. Michelle, would you like to kick us off?
I would indeed. So to start off, I am going to open with my artist, something a little different, Gina Alice. So I say a little different because she is a classical pianist as well as a singer. And I don't think we've had a lot of classical music on this before, so I thought shake things up a little. But anyways, the reason why I've got her on here is because she is fantastic. She's so talented. She has appeared on the Mandarin version of the Frozen soundtrack, so she's got a little bit of, high creds under her belt. And she's got a really extensive back catalog. She's honestly such an exceptional pianist. She has actually recently released an EP called Travel Diary. And so her skills are just so well showcased on it. So I highly recommend you check out her EP. But like I said, she's got a really extensive back catalog. And in that as well, she's got a couple of songs where she's playing and singing. And her voice, honestly, is so beautiful. So she's got a lot going on. So that's Gina Alice. Definitely check her out.
Sounds amazing, and you're right, we've not had a lot of classical artists, so definitely go and check that out. Now, my first artist is also something that I've not kind of featured on the show before, and this is a band called the Post-Industrial Poets, and they're kind of a bluesy rock / indie outfit from Luxembourg. Now, they're a little bit different and they might not be everybody's taste, but what I love about these guys is the way that they compose their songs. Now, each song clearly has a story behind it, but what the band do is they utilize a little bit of indie, a little bit of country, a little bit of blues, and a little bit of just something kind of very avant-garde to create something quite unique. Now, their work has a lot of different vibes and a lot of different feelings in it. In some songs, you kind of get a bit of a kind of funky soul essence to it, and you'll find that in a song called I Gave You My Disease, which is a very interesting topic, a very interesting title, but definitely worth going to check out. And in some other songs, you'll get more of a country blues feel, like Thinking About Brian Jones. Now, as I kind of just said, this band has a very unique sound for sure, and you might not enjoy their sound as much as maybe you enjoy something more traditional, but the fact that they are quite avant-garde and quite out there is, for me, means they're 100% worth checking out. Now, if you're looking to try and sample different parts of this band, I would definitely recommend you try that Thinking About Brian, which I just mentioned. You could also check Down by the Docks, because I think that was their main single, and you should also try something that I personally really enjoyed, which is called In Two Minds. I believe this was kind of their latest single, and it was kind of influenced by some stuff that they did during the lockdown phase, and it's a bit more of a kind of a moody, slower piece, but I feel like there's a real excellent fusion of world music kind of embedded into that song. So definitely have a unique twist. There's a lot going on, and they're definitely post-industrial, definitely avant-garde. So check those guys out.
Awesome. So my next artist is Bravo Wilson, and he is a American singer-songwriter. And it was sort of like in LA where he kind of like got into his songwriting and production and recording a little bit more before he moved out back east to sort of finish up his EPs. So he's got 2 EPs out. He's got Plus Love, which was released earlier this year, and he has just released in August Minus Love, which is his second EP, and sort of like they kind of go together as a pair, which I think is really cool. But yeah, he's got a great voice. It's so soulful. Like, it's so just melodic and just gorgeous. And it's quite interesting as well because it's sort of like he brands himself as sort of like soulful pop and like R&B and that sort of thing, and that's totally on point. But what I just really liked was his lyrics. I just thought his lyrics were just really like heartfelt, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know, something about some of the songs that I was listening to I just thought were just really, really lovely. So yeah, he's fresh on the scene, but honestly, he's so great. I'm really looking forward to seeing what else he comes out with. Honestly, check out both his EPs, Plus Love and Minus Love.
Awesome. Well, my second feature is also a singer-songwriter, and they are also from the States, and this is somebody called Amber Norgard. Now, Amber Norgard has quite an amazing kind of back history of her life and what she's done. She volunteered in the Dominican Republic, and she worked in Alaska as a nurse. But what I think is also amazing is she's done all that and then also managed to kind of etch a fantastic music career, and it started in 2004, which doesn't seem that long ago, but in that time she's done 7 full-length albums, and there's an impressive amount of music to explore, but impressive amount of music to just enjoy, because she blends like a real mixture of eloquent vocals with some lovely piano playing and kind of a general pop feeling with just a touch of kind of country-esque music on top. And I think she will appeal to a lot of people just because she embodies that kind of pop, that country, and that just general music you can put on and listen to whatever mood you're in. So if this sounds like something that you would like to listen to, I would suggest listening to 3 songs. The first one is Back to the Sea, and this is kind of a bit more kind of upbeat poppy. But if you want to listen to something a bit more country, there is also a song called One Flame, which is really, really, really good. It's a little bit slower, but I really enjoyed that. Or you can listen to one that is really my favorite, and I think it's my favorite because there's a bit more of a rock feel to it, and this is called Came Here for Love. So really, really good artist, lots of diversity in her work, and if I'm not selling it to you, there's also the fact that she has received a few awards and nominations, and she's even been a runner-up for something called the Tammys, which is the Tuscan Area Music Awards. So definitely somebody worth trying out if you kind of like that pop sort of country feel from someone who has excellent vocals.
So my final artist band, the band that I've got actually, is Down for Tomorrow. They are a punk band from Australia. They formed in 2016, and they've honestly been putting out really cool music since. Pretty quickly, actually, after they got together, they released their first EP in 2017. And yeah, it's sort of, I would say it's not like old school punk, but it's very clearly like punk. So absolutely love it. They've got a new EP out now, again, released just in August. August was a great time for EPs, clearly. But yeah, they just released it in August. And it's called Whatever Happened. And I would absolutely suggest you check out Emily and Show Me That You Care. Both really good. Honestly, I'm digging a lot of their stuff. So listen to it all. But yeah, I hope you enjoy this punk band of a new music genre that I've just made up there. But yeah.
There's no reason why you can't make up a music genre. No, I think you're right about August saw a lot of EPs released, and also I think May did as well. So maybe they're the times when people release all their music. I don't know. But my final feature does not fall into the punk category, sadly. Though I think I'm going to have to find bands that do. But my final feature is a little bit akin to the one to Amber Norgard, who I just said. It's another kind of singer-songwriter with kind of a more kind of pop country feel to him. And the reason why I wanted to kind of feature this artist is because I heard their EP a couple of months back, and I really enjoyed it. And I've been trying to find a place where I could just basically put this, and this is where I ended up. So the artist in question is Kelsey Bove. So hopefully I've said that right. She is from Bristol, and she has been doing music, or professionally doing music, for around about 8 years. And the thing that I really love about this artist is her vocals. They're just so easy to listen to. You know, there's both a kind of a softness to them, but also kind of an uplifting feel to her vocals. And the best way to kind of describe how she creates her music and what she is to go and listen to her EP. Now, I would recommend you go and listen to the second EP that's come out, because I really like this, and this is called Not Scared Anymore. But I would highly also recommend you check out her first EP called It's My Time. Both brilliant EPs and both brilliant music. Now, I would highly recommend this artist for anybody who likes a great vocal line and some kind of like calm acoustic guitars, all kind of embodied into like this warmth and like embracing music. So if you're a fan of someone like Charlotte Young, Emily Faye, or maybe even kind of Taylor Swift's earlier stuff when she was very country, then I think you will very much like this musician. I think if you like Lissy, you might like some of her stuff as well. So if you're not sure where to start, I would start with her main single, Magnetic, but absolutely check out the EP, Not Scared Anymore. And that is it for our discoveries for this month's podcast. Hopefully there's something there that you will go and explore and go and enjoy, and you will have as much fun as we have exploring these amazing artists and their talents. Now we are going to play some music for you, and usually we just play one song at this moment in the podcast, but as we don't have an interview section as detailed at the start of the show, we're gonna put some more music in this podcast for you to explore and to enjoy. So following on from my kind of country feel with my discoveries, our first song is a country number, and this comes from an artist called Karen Wanaki, and I probably have said that wrong, but hopefully I have not butchered it too much, Karen. But this is a beautiful country single. I believe it is his first single in 18 years, which is quite impressive, but it is absolutely amazing. So if you like country, you're really, really going to enjoy this. And then following this song, we're going to play another one for you, and this one is completely different. This is kind of an R&B influenced pop number, and this comes from an artist called Alain Jaffet, and hopefully I have said that right as well, and it's called Aljaharse, which means move away. And I believe this artist comes from Kenya, so it's very, very different from our first songs. We've got a country, and then we've got an R&B-esque song. So hopefully you guys enjoy it, hopefully you enjoy the diversity, and hopefully this is something that you will go and explore and discover more. So first we have Karen Wanaki with The Reason, followed by Alain Jaffet with Aljaharse. We hope you enjoy.
Chance takers, dream shakers, race to believe, more afraid to stay than leave, but I always knew what I had to do. And with a pocket full of change and a suitcase in my hand, this small town boy became a man. I never gave up. I shot into the black, even if it broke me, I never look back. How would I know if I never tried? I never stopped believing in the reason why. From the crowd, dare to breathe, my heart on my sleeve. As the years grew deeper, these roots into the ground. This lost soul is finally found. I never gave up. I shine into the black. Even if it broke me, I never looked back. How would I know if I never tried? I never stopped believing in the reason why. It's already written, it's already planned. Keep the faith and let fate play its hand. I shine into the black. Even if it broke me, I never look back. How would I know if I never tried? I never stopped believing. No, I never stopped believing in the reason why. Long line of chance takers and dream shakers.
Tony Daddy the big boy.
Nimesubiri sana kuona mwelekeo kutoka ile mida baby mpaka leo. Bidii nimeweka, tumaini nikajipa, kitaeleweka, ndio maana niko mbio. Mbona bado sioni mafanikio? Usiseme ningoje kesho, baby itakuwa vita. Ujaona nimemwaga jasho sana nikikutafuta. Nipe leo ama usinipe, atol nimechoka. Kaa nami ama kama saa ukifeel kuondoka. Ale arse mi amor, ale arse mi amor, ale arse mi amor, mi amor, ale arse mi amor. Nimepanga misururu anakonda, nika cross hata yonda. Bio unanikimbiza na feel nimekonda. Kal, usinipe mavidonda. Nimejaribu nimeshindwa mama, subira siwezi. Siku nyingi nimevumilia sana, nahisi nimekuwa mshenzi. Ninajua utatamani kwa na mimi, ninajua. Nipe leo ama usinipe, atol nimechoka. Kaa nami ama kama saa ukifeel kuondoka. Ale arse mi amor, ale arse mi amor, ale arse mi amor, mi amor, ale arse mi amor, ale arse mi amor, ale arse mi amor. Usiseme ningoje kesho, baby itakuwa vita. Ujaona nimemwaga jasho sana nikikutafuta.
topic for today is socially distanced festivals, and just, I guess, festivals in the time of COVID. Because I think a lot of us are aware that obviously summer is pretty much over now, and that we all missed out on a really, really good festival season. I know I'm crying a little bit inside because I didn't get to go to Reading, because I'm still my 14-year-old emo self at heart. But but yeah, but the thing that's been really interesting is, like, as at least in the UK here, I know things are a little bit different depending on where you are in the world, but here in the UK, with measures kind of lifting a little bit, there's been a bit of room for creativity about how people are doing festivals. So the thing that, so this is something that I had sort of seen on my radar for a while. And I know that there was, like, the UK's first socially distanced festival was Gisborne Park. So I think that was in, like, I think it was in August or something like that. And it was, like, very much like, you know, you had your camping and stuff like that. But it was like, it was a lot smaller than your normal festival. I think there was only, like, capacity was like 400 and some odd. But, you know, but it had, like, music, and it had, like, you know, these little, like, platforms that you sit on instead of, like, you know, your big crowd and the mosh pits and all that fun stuff. So a completely different vibe. But another version of this that I've seen that's happening or has happened this past weekend was BBC Two's part of their Hyde Park, music in Hyde Park. Sorry. And how they basically did it is, instead of having, like, a crowd or, like, attendees at all, basically what they did is they invited artists to come to this, like, estate in the countryside. And it was basically just, like, the crew, so the people, you know, like, people who set up the stage, and, like, the film crew and stuff like that. And they basically filmed the artists singing to the crew, essentially, but you couldn't see the crew. They just filmed the artists doing their performance. And basically, I think that's being shown on BBC Two, and it's also, like, on iPlayer and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I just thought it was really, really interesting, a way of still, you know, like, getting the music out there, getting a way for you to, like, kind of see all these acts and that sort of thing. And so I just thought it was kind of these two interesting approaches, and that sort of went into, like, creating that kind of festival experience. Because I think as well, actually, just while I'm thinking about festivals that have been recorded, I think it was because this was, like, the 50th anniversary of Glastonbury, I think, this year. So I think it was, again, on BBC, I think it was in July, where they were, like, showing, like, the best of Glastonbury, like, over the past 50 years, where they're showing, like, all these, like, iconic musical performances and stuff like that. So again, like, you know, it's not a replacement for a festival, but, like, still trying to, you know, bring the music, you know what I mean? But yeah, I just thought it was really interesting because it was just two different approaches, but also quite creative, in sort of trying to salvage a lost season. But yeah,
I think it's really creative. I think it's also really great, for all the reasons you were saying, because I think so many people, you know, as you say, festival season, you know, people go, oh, well, it's just a couple of festivals, but I don't think people quite comprehend. I mean, in the UK alone, there are thousands of festivals, and this is everything from, you know, as you say, your Glastonbury, your big festivals, your fringe festivals, to smaller things like the Bedford Festival, or, you know, the Festival of Arts that happens in Glasgow, where, you know, maybe only 100 people go, and it's, you know, being able to kind of put an outlet for people to still kind of interact with people is brilliant. I mean, I was working in August on the International Book Festival. Now, the International Book Festival was, you know, it was completely online. There was, like, a little studio set up where your writers or your interviewers would sit and they would talk to each other, and then obviously you'd have your audience that would view it. And the problem is with those things, you get a lot of people criticizing, going, well, why would you do that? And you're never going to get the interest, you're never going to get the people watching. And actually, I think they don't really appreciate how much that people who go to these festivals, especially these small festivals, it's almost like them following somebody on, I don't know, on YouTube or something. They are actually they support the festivals wholeheartedly. That's the thing that they do, and being able to have those kinds of avenues that people can go down and explore, I think is really, really important. And I also think on a completely economic side, and looking at this from a entirely production point of view, it is so important to have these festivals there because people rely on festival season for their income. People rely on festival season to be able to go out and experience things that were going to benefit their jobs in kind of later parts of their career. So, for example, if you've got someone who has just joined a tour, they might go to a huge festival, see how that is all done, gain experience, and then move on to wherever the tour would be. But kind of going a little bit back to that economic side of it, if you have a stage and you have all these big bands who are performing on the stage, they will still turn up with the people who they tour with, and they will still be relying on the production company to provide the kit, the staging, etc. So even when there was a gig in Newcastle that it was a social distance gig and everybody was on platforms, and I know like on a lot of production forums that I'm on, a lot of people exploded with that, going, oh, this is ridiculous. But actually the fact that someone has to put those platforms in means someone's getting paid to put those platforms in. So that's another thing that's brilliant about these gigs that are happening in COVID. But then also, as you were saying, the fact that they are there means that people can get even just a small bit of what they were missing from the festival season. They get that interaction with the band or with the artist or whoever it may be. So it is nice to see that with a little bit of easing, we can get something that maybe resembles normality if it's not quite there at the moment.
So yeah, just touching back to what you're talking about in terms of like people's livelihoods and that sort of thing relying on festival season. What I thought was really, really shocking actually was like in the article talking about the BBC Two one was like it basically, the line says, with concerts cancelled all summer long and for the foreseeable future, up to 60% of jobs in the sector could be lost. Like, you know what I mean? And it was like, it was saying that like for some of the people who were working this festival, like, you know, this was the first job they'd had for months, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just thought like, you know, it's nice that there's like a way of doing this that can like give people work, give people music, even if it isn't, you know, it's not what we want. Like it's not a festival, but it's what we can do at the minute. And I think like, you know, take what you can get, like it's better than nothing, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I completely agree with you. It's take what we can get, because we can't get what we would like. The only problem I foresee, and I don't like coming back to the economy, is so the BBC, obviously, they're a juggernaut. You know, they have a lot of money. I'm not always sure where the BBC gets its money from, but it has a lot of money. So they could afford to put on a festival, pay the acts, pay everybody who should get paid. The problem with a lot of these smaller festivals is if they rely on ticket sales or they rely on investors. So if you have a huge festival, so like going back to the International Book Festival, there's some pretty wealthy people who invest in the book festival. So the fact that they maybe didn't sell the tickets that they did in previous years, they can go, well, we'll take the hit this year, but we're still here, which means people know we're still here, people still come back, they keep their fandom, for then next year they can go, we're back bigger and better, and then they could, you know, give a bit more on ticket prices. But for smaller festivals who maybe don't have the budget to be able to kind of create that sort of that online presence or that online feeling through streaming or videoing, you know, if they would need to be able to supplement that income from somewhere. So that's either getting people to pay via streaming or, you know, even doing, you know, a lot of people have seen those drive-in gigs that people have come to do, which I think is a brilliant idea when we can't physically all go. But the problem is your ticket prices are going to be quite expensive. So the International TV Festival, which also happened in August, a lot of festivals happen in August in Edinburgh. I think there's about 8 or 9 all happen on top of each other. but they had a drive-in movie theater, but the tickets were like, £30 per car, and you think, well, you go into a cinema, normally you wouldn't pay more than £6, and I know it's a very different experience, but the problem is, given everything that's going on, people losing their jobs, people not having as much money, it's difficult to get that those economic gears turning so that you can facilitate that. And I think there's one thing that maybe stops us having more, which is a shame. But I guess you're right. I'd rather have something than nothing. And I suppose the other thing that I think is quite good about it, and we've touched about this on previous podcasts, is this is all developing a side of the industry which I think was probably being developed at the same time, but it's accelerated it. And I feel like when we have live gigs now, there's going to be even more emphasis on that streaming side, and it makes it makes it accessible to everybody, but it's going to make it even more accessible to people who perhaps didn't go to them because they, for whatever reason, couldn't go to them. So I think that is a definite benefit of this whole growth for these big gigs, and then putting a lot more emphasis on kind of just putting it out on to a kind of a digital platform, so to speak, which is pretty good. So
yeah, no, definitely.
Was there?
Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
Sorry, no, great. No, I was just gonna say, like, yeah, it's nice to see like gigs become more accessible and that sort of thing. And then, like, also if you think about it as well, like, it'll cost more money, like, I guess, to once you can get back to like putting on like a full scale gig, to also then pay for, the like recording production. Not that people didn't do that already, because like thinking about it now, I'm like, how many of those like concert tour DVDs did bands put out, like, in the like late noughties?
Absolutely true.
But like all the time. I'm pretty sure I have one from like Fall Out Boy or something like that.
Ooh, you're so
But
cool.
anyways, I know. My taste in music is top notch. But I think like not only like is it good now because it like in the terms of like providing people with access to music, but it also creates jobs. You know what I mean? Because it's like if you're recording a concert, like, I mean, you have to have like people to do that. You know what I mean? So it's kind of a win-win, in my opinion, apart from the expenses.
Yeah.
Which money is always. No, it'll be interesting to see. Like, I'm really looking forward to like gigs and festivals and stuff to be back to how they normally are. But on the other hand, I'm also kind of interested to see like what's going to happen in like how is everything that has happened going to affect like the concert experience, because it's like there, like, obviously I think like in the industry there's a lot of anxiety about the fact that it's like things might not be ready to go for next summer. So how, like, it'll be interesting to see the solutions in terms of like how are they going to mitigate like job losses and like money losses and stuff like that, because it's like surely like there will have to be a way of doing something. And I think like what I really love about like the couple of events and stuff that have been happening now is like we're beginning to see that ingenuity. And so like I'm quite excited to sort of see like what people come up with and what the solutions will be and that sort of thing. Because I think while I think everybody's itching to get back to normal, like I said, I am too, in terms of like festivals and stuff like that, I think this is a really interesting opportunity.
I think you're right. And I also, this is going to sound so pessimistic, and I hope that this is not where we end up. But just given how things have been and how things aren't easily dealt with, I'm trying to sound very apolitical here. I feel like by the time we get to the next festival season, I don't think we're going to be back to what we would consider normal. I feel like we're probably heading towards a new normal, but what I would anticipate a lot of the big festivals will do, especially because a lot of the festivals maybe didn't get the chance to turn things around. I think we're going to see a very different festival experience. I think we're going to have a festival season, but it's not going to be the way. It's not going to be thousands of people in an area experience a gig. It might still be thousands of people, but we're going to be experiencing it not all via a computer screen or a via screen, but I think
socially distant moshing.
Yeah, I mean, there'll be a few less black eyes for socially distant moshing, so...
Yeah, fair. It's actually sort of just thinking about that, like, because obviously, you know, like, you go to, this is a bit of a tangent, so I'm sorry. But, like, you know, when you go to, like, a concert or whatever, you know, and you, like, had a couple of drinks, or you're just really feeling the music, but, you know, and you start, like, dancing around, singing the song, like, really not singing, you're probably screaming the lyrics. So... it hadn't occurred to me. I went out for drinks a couple of days ago to a bar, and they had the music on and stuff like that. And as part of like their rules for, you know, coming to the bar, like in the time of COVID, they're like, the first thing they said to us was no singing. And I was like, what? But obviously, yeah, because like, you know, it travels through, as my prime minister of my other home once said, through moist.
I don't think it's the nicest quote.
Moist. What was it? I can't remember the quote, but anyways, like, yeah. Speaking moistly.
I'm leaving now after that.
But yes, not only do we speak moistly, we sing moistly. But yeah. So yeah, but it just hadn't occurred to me. And so it's like thinking things like that, like, you know, you go to a concert, it's going to be like, you can't sing though. Like, you all have to like sit and listen.
You have to stand like pencils.
Yeah, like, literally, just like a field of robots. Like, no, I'm sure it won't be like that, because that's also very difficult to control. But yeah, it'll just be interesting to see like what kind of rules and stuff they come up with to sort of like, you know, are you not going to be able to scream lyrics? Are like no moshing might be a reality, you know what I mean? Which is fair. And yeah, as you said, probably like I don't mosh anyways because I'm tiny, but but yeah. So it'd be, yeah. So yeah, sorry, it just made me think of that, and so now I've gone off on my.
No. It is true. I think, you know, I think there will be a new normal, and I think, as you said, there'll be all these rules that probably contradict each other, but there'll be all these rules and about what we can and cannot do. And, you know, going back to that whole singing and not being able to sing in bars and stuff, like there's been quite a few bars that I've been to over the last several weeks where they've just had no music because they don't want to encourage you to speak louder, or they don't want to encourage you to sing. That's a very, very weird phenomenon, just sitting in a bar that's quiet. You can hear the person's glass clinking behind you. It's very weird. And I think that's something also with festivals. I think that's probably one of the biggest negatives of getting festivals back, because not only can't you stop people from singing, you also, if there's loud music and people want to talk, they're going to shout at each other. Also, when people drink, people don't really care anymore after that. And I think that is a huge problem, because, you know, that is, you know, people go to festivals, they drink, they have a good time, and that is a problem. But where I'm kind of going with this is back to that gig that I was saying, it was at Newcastle, where they all had their own stage. Now, like, I know people think that's a stupid idea. I actually think that's a brilliant idea, because I feel like that's the sort of thing, maybe you have restricted numbers, but that's the sort of thing that I could see being implemented for a lot of festivals next season. You know, you go to Glastonbury and there's lots and lots of mini stages, and they're all like relatively close to each other, but, you know, within whatever the means needs to be, like 1 meter is plenty, or whatever the rule would be then. But then you have people enjoying within a bubble, and I feel like that's probably where it'll go. But then I'm sure someone will have some creative idea on how they can spread it wider and further, and doing holograms and more video screens or something like that. So yeah, I think I think the landscape is going to be different for a while. I think the new normal that we'll go back to eventually, where we can do gigs, will have such a dynamic character online as well, so that we're kind of going to get a more of a fusion and maybe a bit more openness to music accessibility at the same time, I think. But I do think the gigs are a good thing. I think they're important. I think going back to the very start, as we were saying, it's important to have something rather than nothing. Artists need to be able to engage with each other. I think on a very different point, I think if you have a festival happening, it puts everybody on a platform. It puts everyone on an even platform, so you're not relying on, we're going to do this live stream from our studio because our studio is like £3 million, but then the support act only has a studio of £300. If they all go on the same stage, they all get the same quality and they all get the same exposure, which I think we were lacking during lockdown. When we had all these live streams, we were lacking that hub for people to go to, because that's what a festival is. A festival is a hub for people to go and enjoy music. So I would hope that is something that continues, and whatever happens in the next coming weeks or whatever, that hub is still something that can happen. It'd be quite interesting to see what happens when we get to kind of Christmas and New Year, because obviously you have your festival season and there's a bit of a lull, and you kind of have your more corporate side of events happen kind of November time, and then your Christmas and New Year's, that's when the next parties are on. So interesting to see what happens then.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Times are changing. So
hopefully for the
better. Always hopefully for the better.
Cool. Well, if any of our viewers want to let us know what they think about the gigs that are currently happening, whether they are kind of completely virtual or something that some people can go to on a stage or in a car, it'd be interesting to hear what they think. Interesting to hear what musicians think about this kind of new, slightly different development to gigs going forward. I know there's people obviously work in bars and stuff. It'd be interesting to see what they think about how their small gig could maybe develop into something that is maybe a kind of a microcosm of the kind of the big festival.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, definitely keen to hear what you guys think. So
absolutely, guys. Well, please just get in touch and let us know what you think about the current type of gigs that are emanating because of COVID, and also let us know what you think. Will we be still in a situation where those gigs are needed or necessary come 2021, or will we be doing some sort of hybrid of those gigs and the usual experience that we had, or are we going to be doing something completely different? So please let us know. We want to hear from everybody, even if you're just a lover of music, and also particularly if you're a musician, because you may have experienced some sort of stuff that we've not done. Obviously, we know about the live streams, we know that people have been doing that. But if there's anybody who's taken a part in small festivals or starting to get back into the gigging world, let us know what your experience is, because this is completely alien to everybody, and it'd be really good to hear from people who are basically involved in this, because we can only see it from an outside perspective. I see a lot of things from a technical perspective, but it'd be great to hear things from a musician's perspective. So please feel free to get in touch. You can get us on the social medias, and you can get us on our email as well. Now, guys, that was our topic. So what we're going to do is, because we don't have an interview for this show, we are going to play another 2 songs for you, which we hope you're going to enjoy. These 2 songs kind of fall into the same category. They're both kind of indie rock, but both have very different characters. So hopefully you guys are going to enjoy it. The 2 songs we have coming for you, we have the 4th single released by the Shed Project, and this is called Do It. And then the second song that we're going to play for you is by a band called Crossfire Eagles, and it's called Sweet Talking. Now, I believe that song was released on the 4th September, so it's a fairly new tune for you guys to all listen to, and something you might not have had the chance to explore yet. So, we're going to play the Shed Project first, and then we're going to play Crossfire Eagles. We hope you enjoy these 2 songs.
Times have been hard, times have been so bad. Think my mind's going slightly mad.
everything seemed fine. You drive me wild, your sugar smile. I can't read between the lines. You wanna hit the town till the lights go down. You wanna run around. Well, you know I'm down. You are the sweet talker, sweet walker. So many things that I should have taught her. Sweet talker, sweet talker, sweet talker. Sweet talker, sweet walker. So many things that I could have bought her. Sweet talker, sweet talker, sweet talker. You got dangerous eyes, you paralyze me. The way you move, girl, is tantalizing. Empty streets, cold wind blowing. I don't know where you came from or where you're going. You wanna hit the town till the lights go down. You wanna run around. Well, you know I'm down. You are the sweet talker, sweet walker. So many things that I should have taught her. Sweet talker, sweet talker, sweet talker. Sweet talker, sweet walker. So many things that I could have bought her. Sweet talker, sweet talker, sweet talker. Too many liars, dangerous desires.
That was Crossfire Eagles with Sweet Talkin', and before that we had the Shed Project with Do It. Earlier in the show we had Karen Lanaki with The Reason, and we had Olivine Jaffet with Alja Harse. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed the music we played. Hopefully you guys enjoyed listening to the discoveries we had at the start of the show, and you're going to go and explore them. And hopefully you found our topic engaging this week. Now, if there's anything in the show you want to talk to us more about, or you want to pick up or want to find out more about, please just hit us up on all the social mediums. Furthermore, if there's any music or any types of musical movements or anything or any topics that we should discuss or explore, please also hit us up. And if you want to be a guest on the show, please also hit us up as well. We love to hear from you guys. You can get us on social medias. You can get us on Twitter at WH Music Show. You can get us on Facebook at What's Happenin Music. You can also get us on email at whm@avosound.com. We love to hear from you guys, and we hope you have all enjoyed the podcast. Thank you for tuning in once again, and enjoy whatever you're doing for the rest of the day or the rest of the week until we speak to you again. Follow us on social media if you haven't for all the latest updates, and we will see you next time round. Have a great one, people. Peace.